The Lost Colony of Roanoke, America's oldest unsolved mystery. Have you ever stumbled across a moment in history that makes you pause, furrow your brow, and whisper to yourself, how on earth could that have happened? One of those stories where the deeper you dig, the more questions appear, and just when you think you've figured it out, another layer of mystery emerges? Well, today we're taking you on a journey into one of the oldest and most enduring unsolved mysteries in American history. Something that has puzzled scholars, historians, and curious minds for more than 400 years. This is the story of the lost colony of Roanoke. Now picture this for a moment. It's the late 1500s. Queen Elizabeth I reigns in England, and land exploration is booming, and the idea of the New World, this vast, wild land across the Atlantic, is a source of ambition and anxiety. In this time of discovery, a group of over 100 men, women, and children set sail from England with hope in their hearts, dreams of new beginnings, and the promise of a brighter future. Their destination? Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. What happened to them after they landed is still a mystery. They built a settlement, lived their lives, planted gardens, raised children, and then, one day, they vanished. Completely. No bodies, no signs of struggle, no letters, journals, or clues left behind. Just a single word carved into a tree. CROATOAN. What could that possibly mean? And how could more than 100 people disappear without a trace? Let's step back for a moment and walk through how this all began. The idea to create a permanent English colony in North America was spearheaded by Sir Walter Raleigh. He never actually set foot in the New World himself, but he was granted permission by the Queen to establish a settlement. After a couple of failed attempts, Raleigh organized a voyage in 1587. Led by John White, a man who would become the governor of the new colony. White wasn't just a leader. He was also a talented artist and cartographer. He brought with him over 100 colonists, including his pregnant daughter Eleanor and her husband Ananias Dare. Just a few weeks after they arrived, Eleanor gave birth to the first English child born in the New World, Virginia Dare. Her name still echoes in history, partly because of her role in this mystery, and partly because she represents the fragile beginning of European life in America. The colonists set up camp on Roanoke Island. It wasn't easy. Supplies were low, relations with local Native American tribes were tense, and it soon became clear that unless they received help from England, they wouldn't last long. So Governor White made the difficult decision to return to England for more supplies. He left behind his daughter, son-in-law, and newborn granddaughter, promising to return as soon as possible. But fate had other plans. When White arrived in England, war had broken out with Spain. Queen Elizabeth had ordered that all ships be used to fight the Spanish Armada. White's return to Roanoke was delayed again and again. By the time he finally made it back in 1590, 3 years later, the colony was gone. Completely and utterly gone. There were no people, no signs of violence, no burning buildings, no graves. Just one eerie clue, the word CROATOAN carved into a post, and the letters CROW carved into a nearby tree. It seemed like the colonists had left a message. But what did it mean? CROATOAN was the name of a nearby island, and also the name of a Native American tribe that lived there. Some have speculated that the colonists went to live with the CROATOAN people. Perhaps they integrated into their society, married into the tribe, and simply vanished into history through cultural absorption. But if that's what happened, why didn't John White find them there? Why didn't he investigate further? CROATOAN was the name of a nearby island, and also the name of a Native American tribe that lived there. Some have speculated that the colonists went to live with the CROATOAN people. Perhaps they integrated into their society, married into the tribe, and simply vanished into history through cultural absorption. But if that's what happened, why didn't John White find them there? Why didn't he investigate further? The answer is tragic. A storm was approaching, and the ship's captain refused to let White stay and search. He had no choice but to return to England, never to see his family again. Imagine that heartbreak. Imagine being so close, having sailed across the ocean, only to be forced back by nature's fury and the stubbornness of a captain more worried about his ship than the lives left behind. Over the years, countless theories have been put forward. Some believe the colonists were killed by hostile tribes. Others suggest they tried to sail back to England themselves and were lost at sea. Some think they moved inland and founded a new settlement that never made it into the history books. Still others whisper of darker possibilities: pirates, famine, betrayal, even supernatural forces. Archaeologists have searched for decades. They've found tantalizing clues: European-style pottery, tools, weapons, but nothing conclusive. No graves with names, no buildings preserved beneath the soil. Just fragments that hint at the past, but never tell the whole story. And that's what makes this mystery so haunting. We like closure. We like answers. We want to know what happened to Eleanor Dare, to baby Virginia, to the men and women who risked everything for a new life in a strange land. But the truth may be forever buried in time. Before we keep going, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button if you're finding this helpful so far. It's completely free to subscribe, and it helps me keep bringing you life-changing tips like these every single week. Plus, you'll be joining an incredible community of folks committed to staying sharp and healthy at every age. We call ourselves the Health Tipsters. And hey, if you're excited about exploring the world's greatest mysteries with us, leave me a comment below that says, "History Seeker." I read every single one, and who knows, you might even hear your story featured in a future video. Alright, ready? Let's get back to Roanoke. Now let's think about this through the lens of aging. Why does a story like this still captivate us, even after all these centuries? Maybe because it speaks to the deep part of us that understands how fragile life is, how easily people, dreams, and even entire communities can disappear without a trace. And it reminds us of the importance of leaving behind stories, of keeping memories alive, and of seeking truth, even when it seems out of reach. As we get older, we begin to realize how precious time is. We think more about legacy, about what we pass on to the next generation. The colonists at Roanoke left behind so little, but they left enough for us to wonder, to investigate, and to keep their memory alive. And maybe that's all any of us can really hope for: to be remembered, to be wondered about, to not be forgotten. The mystery of Roanoke has inspired novels, movies, documentaries, and television shows. Some versions are filled with horror and fantasy, while others try to stick closely to the historical record. But no matter how it's told, the story always ends the same way, with a disappearance, a carving in a tree, and 100 unanswered questions. And yet, that's what makes it so powerful. Because maybe, just maybe, someone will find something one day: a diary buried in the sand, a letter sealed in a bottle, a child's shoe with initials carved in it, that finally reveals the truth. Until then, Roanoke remains a symbol of mystery, of human perseverance, of hope, and of loss. And so, if you ever find yourself walking along the shores of the Outer Banks in North Carolina, where the wind whispers through the trees and the ocean crashes against the sand, take a moment to listen. Not just with your ears, but with your heart. Imagine the laughter of children, the hammering of wood as settlers built homes, the prayers of mothers tucking in their babies. It all happened there, and then one day it stopped. But maybe, just maybe, it hasn't really disappeared. Maybe it's waiting, like all good stories do, for the right person to hear it. Maybe that person is you. If this mystery stirred your curiosity, let me know in the comments. And if you've ever visited Roanoke Island, or if you've got your own theory about what happened to the lost colony, I'd love to hear it. History lives when we talk about it, and your voice matters. Smash that like button if this story gave you goosebumps, and share it with someone who loves a good mystery. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. That way you'll never miss a video that just might change how you see the world, or add new questions to your journey of discovery. We're building a community of thoughtful, curious minds who believe that history isn't just about the past. It's about how we live today, how we connect, and how we remember. So join us. Be part of something meaningful. Be part of something that lasts. Here's to living your best life at any age. Here's to exploring the unknown, embracing the mystery, and never stopping the search for truth. Because even if the answers never come, the journey, the wonder, That's what makes life extraordinary. And maybe one day the winds of time will shift and someone will uncover the final piece of the puzzle. Until then, the story of Roanoke remains unfinished and waiting.